Changes to Zana and the Atlas. In Path of Exile Delve, we're making some improvements to Zana's quest and also introducing a new feature on the Atlas called Shaper Strongholds that create a more powerful Shaper influence. Whoa! The initial quest that Zana offers to explore Shaper and Elder influence on the Atlas now also offers maps as quest rewards. Poggers, dude! Upon completing the quest objectives, Zana will reward you with any tier 2 map of your choice! Any map! That's actually sick. So the only non-acquirable through either vendoring or Zana map is tier... Well, there's multiple, I guess. Since sometimes you need 2 per tier. Sometimes you need 3 per tier. Tier 3 is the worst one. But still pretty good. Shaper Stronghold. The influence is a more powerful Shaper's influence that cannot be defeated by the Elder naturally. Only you can impact removing this from your Atlas. On completing these influenced maps, you will receive extra rewards, including Chisel Sexton's unique items, including ones that would normally be restricted to leagues. What? And various Shaper items. What? More RNG stuff? Did I read this right? This isn't Pog at all. Upon completion, each one will appear on red maps. Upon completing these, they will have a chance to randomly spawn when Shaper influence is created. What? This sucks! It's a percentage chance whenever a Shaper influence spawns to defend against the Elder that it will be a Shaper Stronghold. I mean, spawning it I guess is not that bad, but... I mean, I guess if it prioritizes completed maps and it spawns on red maps, then... Can I have like one red map and then have this guy spawn there and then do that and then run like Underground Sea over and over until it spawns and then keep it? It's a percentage chance whenever a Shaper influence spawns to defend against the Elder that it will be a Shaper Stronghold. Its tier can't be guaranteed, but you can restrict it by controlling the position and level of your Elder influence. I mean, it doesn't really do, in my eyes, from the initial thoughts, what I would want it to do, which is like, attempt to keep it on an individual thing. But if it just spawns anywhere, then I guess they're trying to like vary up people's mapping or something to not run the same shit over and over. Get rid of it, or I don't know. What is the purpose? Like getting Shaper items more easily through like RNG mechanics? The first part I really like. Absolutely. This definitely is going to help with like really cancerous SSF map build up. But this part, it's pretty tricky. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more. This is really good. This part I like. I mean, mostly for SSF purposes. I don't think it's going to be particularly impactful for Trade League players. Maybe if you're like getting maps kicked off and you're trying to just get as much objective stuff as possible. But it's not necessarily a solution for the RNG-ness of like potentially obtaining maps, because there's still tiers that need like at least 2 or 3 maps, right? For instance, for tier 2 maps, you need Pen and Arid Lake, right? So you can only get one of these, so you still have to drop one. And for tier 3 maps, you need Port, Leyline, Cells, and Burial Chamber. Yeah. So I don't know, this helps, but it doesn't help enough. It really helps on these tiers, which I like a lot, because it makes it a lot less cancerous to get your Sextants. But these early tiers, you're still probably going to be stuck on them for a minute or two. It's a step in the right direction, I think, but the Shaper Stronghold thing, I don't know, maybe it's a lot more impactful than I think. Maybe it's like, yeah, I mean, Sexton's Chisels, unique items, maybe it's like really juicy or something. Otherwise, it's just a little bit extra to do, unless I'm missing something. But yeah, I mean, overall, cool. They're doing something. It looked like it was like this super big thing, but yeah, I can't really think of too many things. Yeah. Death is but the start of your servitude. Let's see what this is. Soul Rest, a Ezomite staff, 18% chance to block attack damage while wielding a staff. Trigger level 20 summon phantasm skill when you consume a corpse. Oh! 140 increased spell damage, 26 increased cast speed, 96 increased mana regeneration rate. Minions deal 45 to 66 additional physical damage. If you consume a corpse recently, your nearby allies regenerate 5% of life per second. I mean, it's interesting. The Phantasm is good. I like that. The spell damage is obviously really good. Going to be, I mean, difficult to work into a build in the current meta, but it seems like they're reworking a lot of stuff. So that's pretty interesting. Obviously, the cast speed is sick. It's still a staff, so do remember that. But for summoners, I mean, running around is kind of what you're used to. Bring back old flesh offering ascendancy stuff, by the way. And 45 to 66 additional physical damage is actually quite a bit for a Phantasm specifically, so that's nice. And the regeneration, I mean, you know, it helps. I'm not too crazy about it, but it helps for sure. The only problem that I see with this item is that you need a tremendous amount of scaling for Phantasm to work. Otherwise, you're looking at probably playing some sort of staff Spectre with Phantasm thing, which doesn't really work, unfortunately, because you need really high mobility to keep up your unending hunger to really like make it work. Maybe you can fit this into possibly like a Skelly Mage build, where you would have either two separate setups or one setup. I've seen some Spell Echo, not Spell Echo, the Judgment stuff, Pledge of Hands builds that worked pretty well, as long as you can cover the mobility. But yeah, it would be cool to utilize the spell damage, and I'm not 200% what to do with something like that, because 140 spell damage isn't exactly a lot, but it's helpful. But a Scourge Claw is also pretty nice, so would I really go over this if I can use a shield and the thing? And yeah, so it's a little tricky, but again, they're doing so many changes, it's very difficult to judge. Necromancer items and overall GGG for the most part always show us like, here's this completely random item that doesn't work for the meta currently, but there's changes on the horizon, so maybe it's going to be super exciting. So there's that. And yeah, the art is pretty cool too. I'll stand with you guys on that. No, I can see this working for skeletons. I can see this working for skeletons. I would like for it to work with like specters and all that sort of stuff, but yeah. And then also Doriani's Machinarium. Whoa! There's a video even. Ooh, okay. Or are they showing off an item? Nice reveal, by the way. Okay. Doriani's Delusion. Grants level 25 Purity of Fire skill. Uh-huh. Adds 26 to 45 fire damage to spells and attacks. 30% MS. 112 increased armor. 63 maximum life. Yeah. I mean, they're good boots. The armor is great. The movement speed's great. The life is decent. The damage is pretty good. The purity of fire? I don't know. I don't know about that. Because, like, well, it's nice that it's a high level purity of fire. But it doesn't really synergize with the fire damage because of E and all that stuff. When you enter Doriani's Machinarium, there are 3 paths you can travel and a staircase that leads to an empty boss room. Each path has a payload you'll need to transfer and is connected to one of the boss's arms. When you reach the end of each path, you are presented with 3 buttons. Each button augments that arm with an element, fire, cold, or lightning. After you've completed each path and you have augmented each arm, you can then fight the boss you have created. The reward you'll receive is based on the options you have chosen. Okay, so I guess it's a matter of choosing if it's armor, evasion, or yes, and then choosing if it's fire, cold, lightning, and then choosing if it's cold, lightning, fire, purity, I suppose. Which would make a lot more sense. Then it's a lot more reasonable because I can see an RF build using this thing. But there's probably a little bit more randomness, so maybe it's not just boots, it's probably something more too. But yeah. I like that. I like that. It's very cool. Wait a minute. Before all these news, we gotta get our fucking mystery box. I'm counting on you here. Fuck this game. Wait, the fuck? What the fuck, dog? So, let us start off, my friends, with Path of Exile Stash Tab Improvements. What is this right here? What is happening here? I know what's happening here, because I've actually seen this video before. The greatest of things is happening, which is you finally don't need to scroll. You can basically just take your stash tabs that are at the end, put them to the front. You know, I can appreciate that. That's pretty cool. That's a nice quality of life. Also, to my understanding, they said that it's a band-aid. It's not actually like a fix. Hopefully at some point they're just gonna make it so that every time we have like a preset for stash tabs that we can select and then just use that. This is a Coming Calamity 3D art. I mean, yeah. Whatevers. I would like to understand. Hollow Fossil, weapons, helmets, boots, gloves, body armor. Has an abyssal socket. That's fucking crazy. What? Potent alchemical resonator. No mana modifiers, more speed modifiers. Upgrades a normal item to a rare item. Has an abyssal socket. It's got attack speed. They've got life. They've got an abyssal socket, and they've got life gain on hit. And kill. Life gain on hit wouldn't be bad. Yeah. This is busted. Putting abyssal sockets onto things. Pretty busted. I really wish they would look into abyssal sockets and how they work with like minions and melee and damage over time, and maybe nerf a little bit of the elemental builds and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so far they're pretty busted for a lot of things. That's kind of interesting. Well, there is the whole thing of, well, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you can actually attach essences to this too, right? So, could you craft, like, insanity gloves with an abyssal socket? Like, I don't know. It takes an affix, though? Yeah, that's a really big deal, right? I do wonder if it's a prefix or a suffix. Yeah, mostly dot they could look into. Introducing instant skills! Until now, we didn't have the ability to have truly instant casting skills. Even if we set the cast time to 0, you still had to be standing still and doing nothing else in order to cast skills, which was really annoying with like detonating mines and some other things. An example where this was a problem was detonating mines. Oh, what's up? Where the player wants to be able to time it exactly, but can't do so while doing other actions. Gotcha. In Path of Exile Delve, we now support truly instant skills that can be cast at any time. We now detonate mines. For now, detonate mines all of the auras. Herald self-targeting skills like Righteous Fire. Oh, okay. Molten Shell. Wow, Molten Shell. And other have been modified to cast instantaneously. Wow, Molten Shell's a really interesting choice. That's pretty big, honestly. In addition, if you have an appropriate passive skill, Warcries will now be truly instant, rather than just taking 0 times. He's talking about Berserker, I guess. In the future, we plan to use this tech a lot more to open up design space for additional skills where you want to use them at a moment's notice to react to events in combat. And there's a video, too. It's a guy turning on a lot of skills. Ooh, phase run! What's up, girl? Phase run. Man. It's funny because I so frequently talk about how, well, Path of Exile can't get any faster. It's basically reached a point where players are too limited by mechanics, right? Where if you're like really blasting through content, there's no way the game could get any faster, because most of the time you're already rocking like 500 actions per minute, and it's just ridiculous, and you're like a fucking StarCraft player just going ham, right? And then they introduce things like this, and it's just like, well then. Molten Shell's an interesting choice. Phase Run's pretty cool. Convocation's really nice. Convocation's in there. Convocation's really nice. That actually is great. Yeah, Blood Rage too. It's cool. And now it is time for the Ziggy Diggy video. Ziggy, my Diggy Diggy. Tell me about all the things and the stuff.
G'day, Ziggy D here with some more coverage of Path of Exile's 3.4 Delve expansion. Today we're taking a look at the brand new poison-themed Herald of Agony, and new poison and chaos-themed nodes for the Pathfinder.
Spell Herald minion level 1 grants above giving more poison damage a chance to inflict poison when you poison an enemy, blah blah blah. Okay, so it's like the regular. The Agony Crawler will die when you have no virulence. Okay. Gain virulence and summon an Agony Crawler minion that uses projectiles and area attacks. You will lose virulence over time, and a rage rate increases the more virulence you have. Virulence? Am I saying that right? Maximum one summoned Agony Crawler. There's definitely going to be items for this stuff. Grants 20% chance to poison on hit. Nice. Grants virulence when you poison an enemy. Nice. Grants 10% more poison damage. Really nice. Agony Crawler has 2% increased attack speed per virulence you have. Agony Crawler deals 10% increased damage per virulence you have. Wow. That's really interesting because it's a minion and it's 10% increased damage. So scaling through minions doesn't seem particularly impactful. Agony Crawler has 2 to 3 added physical damage per virulence you have. Wow, holy moly. Okay, this thing really scales a lot.
The Agony Crawler is said to be competitive with some of the most powerful minions a summoner build can field without you needing any other specific minion scaling in your build.
Looks like it. Seriously? Poison proliferation? Seriously? Is it like actual proliferation, or is it like Bino's proliferation? It's like actual proliferation, right? What? 15% more chaos damage with attack skills. Chaos skills have 50% increased area of effect. You lose virulence 50% slower. Poisons you inflict during any flask effect have 40% chance to deal 100% more damage? What the fuck? Are they like reworking Assassin too? This is the thing that I was really scared of, man, when I was talking about Heralds and all that stuff before. Like, holy moly, dude. They must be reworking a lot of stuff. I mean, they said that they're going to be touching on the skill tree and everything.
And on top of this,
It's just, I'm just afraid for like these things to be locked around the single class, you know?
in an
Yeah.
upcoming video I'll be showcasing a reworked Caustic Arrow and a new
Nice.
Chaos support gem.
Eh, Caustic Arrow, told you motherfuckers they're gonna rework it. Everybody was like, no, Raiz, you're wrong. They're definitely not reworking Caustic Arrow. Yeah, they are, bitch. Boom! 200 IQ. Just like that. Anyway, go check out Ziggy Diggy's video. Absolute unit. What a master, dude. Yeah, they're gonna have to do some things with, maybe not necessarily occultist, but assassin? Yeah. I mean, I would really love to see what they're doing with the skill tree, because it's so difficult to make a call on this sort of stuff without seeing more. And it does seem like they're really being quite cautious with this stuff. I can't see anything on the skill tree over here that looks out of place. But yeah, I'm excited about Caustic Arrow. I'll be honest, I really hope they overdo the fuck out of Caustic Arrow. And then I can play it forever. I would really love that. Especially with the instant skills and all this sort of stuff. I would love to kick things off on SSF with Caustic Arrow. Dog. That'd be sick. But yeah, I mean, the virulence isn't that big of a deal. Like, overall, I think if you're trying to build around the spider, either way, then this probably isn't enough. I mean, the chaos skills have 50% increased area of effect. This should affect your minion either way, I think. Because this chaos skills, and technically it's a chaos skill after effect, which would scale, right? It's still a minion, but it would kind of make sense if it's consistent with the other heralds that it would scale. So, kind of tricky stuff. Yeah, obviously coming calamity is a thought, you know, it's an option. But yeah, we really kind of just have to see more. I like the spider. I think the rework of the Pathfinder is surprising. I don't think this is the entirety. I don't think this is the extent of the changes. But if it is, this might be a solid pick for Delve. You know? Permanent immunities. Big fat fucking minion that works well with a staff because you can have multiple 6 links. You know, probably pretty alright. Yeah, so apparently it's clarified that Ziggy's got the good juice in this video, and you guys can probably not see the stacks, but now you can.
You can get up to 40 stacks of virulence, and it decays over time, decaying faster the more you have.
Kind of tough to use in other classes. For the most part, you'd be sitting around like 20.
Will be summoned.
With Pathfinder, it's easier to sit around 30. It seems like, for the most part. But yeah, I really do wonder what kind of abilities you can utilize this with. I definitely can see some heavy summoner action because of how this thing scales, which is kind of unintuitive for a summoner, but it will still scale very well. One of the bigger things is also that its attacks and abilities are in line with how you would be scaling phantasms too, and we're getting the new staff and all that sort of stuff. So, yeet, man, pretty neat stuff. Looks pretty cool. Not gonna lie though, I'm pretty disappointed that they're not reworking the permanent immunities, because apparently it has been clarified that the rest of the Pathfinder is the same, which might be a little tricky for Delve, you know, if you just get enough gear and then you're immune to all elemental damage. Depending on how their things are going to scale and whether or not things are going to have penetration, I don't know. But I also can see why they wouldn't want to ruin the fun for other people. But, yeah, I'm excited. It's cool. I like it. Hope they do more of this sort of stuff. If anything, really, seeing how they are pretty smart about this minion scaling thing, it's pretty cool to see how Guardian's going to turn out. Unless it turns out like shit, and then I'll be sad. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the extent of what we're getting with this batch of changes. Cool stuff. Excited to see more.